Welcome to one of our marriage series called After the Affair. Unfortunately, you may be clicking on this because you've just discovered something very traumatic in your marriage, whether you're the spouse who's committed adultery or you're the spouse that's just finding out that your husband or wife has been in another relationship. In either case, what I hope to accomplish in this particular video is just get you started on that conversation and journey of where do we go from here. We'll talk a little bit about how do you have a conversation that's going to be productive and moves you in a good direction, and also the importance of finding a counselor. I want you guys to make sure to go to rednotes.org/marriage, where you're going to find a pamphlet of information here that's going to kind of help you walk through these initial steps. The first thing I want to say here is you have experienced a trauma, and that is a major negative event that completely destroys important assumptions or beliefs that you've had about your spouse and your marriage. You've assumed that your spouse has had nothing but the desire to protect you and to be trusting and faithful to you, and that's all been called into question. Your marriage has suddenly changed into something unfamiliar and uncertain. So I think it's important to pay attention to the fact that a major trauma has occurred here, and there's some common thoughts that you might be having of, what else haven't I known about? Do we have a future? Is our marriage going to make it? Common feelings you may be having is overwhelmed or feeling foolish that you didn't know sooner, or just completely numb and not sure what to do. So these are all kind of common experiences to have, but the main question to then start asking is, well, what do we do now? The first thing I want to say to you is slow down and let the dust settle. Don't make any major decisions about whether your marriage can make it or not, or whether you think that divorce is the only option. This isn't the time to make such decisions. A bit of good news here is that 75% of couples who experience an affair end up fighting through it and going on to have a good marriage. So that's good news. So for right now, make just the minimum adjustments that you need to make as far as maybe living arrangements for now, just emotionally and physically what that needs to look like. And then be ready to start that conversation. You need to start having the who, what, where, and why. You need to agree on boundaries with that third party. Make sure that that other relationship has ended and that both of you feel comfortable with those boundaries and agree together on those. To the one who's had the affair, you need to make sure you are showing patience and understanding and transparency right now. To the person that's been offended by this affair, you need to be looking for the why of the affair and gaining that understanding. And that at least gets you guys started on the same page. How did we get here? Why are we here? Why were those choices made? And what are we going to do now? I've given you guys some questions that I think are really worth your time to start that conversation. I want you to take some time to ask those questions. And the last part is get into counseling right away. Talk to your pastor, a trusted couple friend that you respect their marriage, or find a professional counselor and start talking about these things and bring the answers to these questions into a time with that trusted couple or counselor so that you can have some accountability and kind of help you navigate through these hard conversations. I hope you'll join me for part 2 as we dig in a little bit deeper to what to do after the affair.